Darkness. Born of chaos, the underworld is a domain of pure and utter darkness. Sometimes this dark essence becomes manifest through all the raging of the dead and all the strife that can unfold beneath the earth. And there are those born of this realm who can absorb that essence, gaining oneness with the underworld, growing stronger all the while. That darkness, having taken root within, connects the bearer to the underworld, makes them inseparable, almost one and the same. Those born of darkness must remain in darkness. This is one of the underworld's undeniable laws. Bloodstones. The world itself is alive, in a way, is it not? Even the realm of the dead. All of us here, the world with it, we flow through time as blood flows through mortal veins. Look carefully and you shall find that there is power, feeling in the earth itself, and like any power it seeks to be claimed, to be held. With all this in mind, as well as due to appearance, I suppose, do bloodstones take their name. The master himself keeps several of them, perhaps for therapeutic reasons. He has even taught the prince the way to make their crimson facets ignite in an angry glow. Although the master is best known for presiding over this vast realm of death beneath the earth, he has another preoccupation. Wealth, riches, and the like. Perhaps for its own sake, or perhaps as a measure of how efficiently he oversees his domain. Everywhere you look, this wealth is fully on display. It is so plentiful here that the master has taken to storing some of it throughout the realm, safely secured in well-protected troves. Any tampering causes the contents to begin to transfer beyond reach, while shades in the master's service tend to the matter. Charon's Obol. The underworld is best known as the domain of death, but it is also the domain of countless wealth and riches, sent into the river Styx along with the deceased. Here, the purpose of such coin is mostly symbolic, but there are those who value it in a manner more traditional, especially the boatman Charon. His need of coin cannot be fully understood. He hoards the wealth, perhaps to build for himself increasingly superior river-faring crafts. Fate only knows what else. Centaur Heart. The equine centaurs are well known for their unlimited endurance, and although their reign has long since passed from the mortal realm above, their resolve lives on within the underworld. Here, their vital essence is encased in still-beating vessels, which bestow the centaur's power to the wielder. Whether any centaurs yet remain alive to claim these artifacts, it is as yet unclear. Palm of Power. There is not much to eat here in the underworld, conventionally speaking. The pomegranate is a rare exception, having made its way down to these depths perhaps alongside the Lord Hades himself when he first came to this realm eons ago. Here, this blood-red fruit holds something of a terrifying power. At times it's called a window to Olympus, for in its acrid morsels we can almost see the hollowed mountaintop, and we grow closer to the gods who there reside. Supposedly, it is also rich in something known as antioxidants, whatever those are, and whatever they are for. Look, I am a warrior, not a nutritionist. Daedalus Hammer. The master artisan called Daedalus has never known a peer, so it is little accident that the Lord Hades hand-selected him from all the shades residing in the underworld to do his bidding for eternity, and for a hallowed place within Elysium somewhere. Having designed the interlocking chambers all throughout Tartarus, and even the floor plan of the Lord Hades' house, Daedalus since discarded his own tools so that now others may make careful changes fitting of a genius such as he. Anvil of Fates. The master artisan Daedalus once fashioned an artifact in honor of the three fates, or perhaps in quiet irony. It is such a shame to think the fates have each of our every outcomes preordained, that they weave out all our lives as a bit of fabric. I would much prefer to have been forged of bronze than spun of silk. I choose to believe the fates provide for all of us a bit of latitude. There is very little any one of us controls, even the gods. However, we are frequently presented with decisions. As blacksmiths, the forge of our lives, what we are making is already decided. But how we make it, where and when we strike that burning surface, determines the integrity of the result. Chthonic Keys. Certain artifacts within the realm of Hades have been sealed under lock and key to prevent tampering by those not yet prepared to harness their immeasurable might. Those keys, or so they appear, are not so easy to procure, but there are ways. The keys lie strewn within Tartarus, perhaps beyond. They seem as though composed of the shadows themselves. and disintegrate first into dust, then nothingness at all when used. Perhaps that dust merely reforms into another key, somewhere, some other time.
Titan blood.
Deep within the unfathomable pits of Tartarus lie the remains of the Titans, who once ruled all between heaven and earth. Few traces yet remain of them due to the thoroughness with which they were dispatched in the war waged by their offspring, the gods who now reside upon Olympus. Yet those scarce traces do exist, and a terrible power rests within. A mere drop of their ichor, their blood, holds the memory of that catastrophic battle. It is enough to awaken within the weapons of that age a latent power that went dormant once the Titans who defied the gods were utterly defeated. Gemstones. Mortals cherish these stones of many brilliant colors, going to lengths to excavate them from the earth, to steal them, to be blunt, from the rightful domain of Master Hades. The Master also values them, for light exists in limited supply down here, and light refracted through a gemstone's facet is most valuable of all. The merest glimpse of such a dazzling display can spur a loathsome shade to action, in the Master's name. And thus the Master Hades found within his realm a naturally occurring motivator for whatever must be done. And as for mortals who would risk themselves to steal from the earth, they all tend to forget that, in a span of just a few short years, they shall likely find themselves right here, among the Master's riches that they sought. Diamond. Among the hardest, most bedazzling of substances born underneath the earth, the diamond nonetheless has somewhat of a stately manner. Colorless and stoic next to all the multicolored stones with which it coexists. But what it arguably lacks in outward beauty, it makes up for with its uses in the sprawling industry of death, which Master Hades oversees. Within the Master's house, the diamond always holds a special place, its hardness helping excavate the stone and carve out all the likenesses and monuments encapsulating many ages past. Its shimmering facets, hewn a certain way, absorbing little bits of light that can remind even an ancient shade of what it meant and what it means to live. Nectar. The drink of the gods is one of the underworld's most sought-after delicacies, and truly perhaps one of the only sources of genuine lightness here within the realm. How the substance came to be here is unclear to me, though even I have something of a taste for it by now, based on the few occasions when I've had a chance to try it for myself. Everyone I know in the underworld, irrespective of their disposition, categorically enjoys the stuff. It is a prized possession, and anyone who would offer it up willingly does so genuinely as a friend. Ambrosia. Mortals must regularly nourish themselves with food and drink merely to stave off death. The gods of Olympus have no such fear, and consume only for sake of tradition or revelry. They have access to all the splendor and deliciousness the world has to offer, yet they favor one in particular, and only very rarely does it make its way down here into this realm. Ambrosia's savor simply cannot be described, so I am told. Some say its qualities adapt to the imbiner, tasting of whatever is the richest, most delicious substance their mind can imagine. Others say it gains its potency once transferred to another through a selfless act of giving. Loyalty card. The inscrutable riverboatman Charon, between hauling in the souls of mortals like a day's good catch, seems quite concerned with his vast collection of material things. Amid the finery, the shining metal coins and baubles, I know are artifacts of considerable power. But for what? For whom? He cannot be his only customer, hauling around all his stuff about. To what extent the Master is aware of Charon's little side business I am not entirely aware, and dare not to inquire. I know only that Charon must be gathering his wares for some purpose. Those true to him? Those to who he's true himself? I can but guess. Red onion. One of the many ironies of living, if it can thus be called, in this eternal realm of gloom, is that the onion, among every sustenance discovered, ranks among the sole reminders here of our once mortal diet. A foul root best known for bitterness or for unprompted issuance of tears. Yes, there are those who claim the onion has its place among staples that a mortal ought to eat deliberately and with joy. For instance, they would say, the onion takes on a different savor and consistency when put under the flame. But these are likely falsehoods, to induce in us surpassing doubts, and make us weak. I would prefer to fade to nothingness far more than be required to consume one of those foul plants, which tainted too many a meal of mine while I was living, and goad me even now that I am dead.